strongly condemns the deadly attack in Kabul. Foreign Minister holds bilateral consultations with his counterparts of 3 African countries. And Gender Minister returns to Maldives after concluding her visit to Laos as the special envoy of the President Abdullah Yamin Abdul Qayyum.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Nasma Abdul Hassan and this is PSM News. The government of Maldives strongly condemns the deadly attack in Kabul. Ministry of Foreign Affairs stated that the government strongly condemns the barbaric terrorist attacks in Kabul, killing innocent lives and destroying infrastructure. At least 95 people were killed and 158 wounded in the blast, which was claimed by Taliban militant group a week after they claimed a deadly attack on the city's Intercontinental Hotel. It was the worst attack seen in the Afghan capital since a truck bomb near the German embassy killed 150 people in May 2017. Minister of Foreign Affairs Dr. Muhammad Asim holds bilateral consultations with his counterparts of 3 African countries.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Dr. Muhammad Asim arrived in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia to attend the opening ceremony of the 30th Summit of the African Union. During the visit to Addis Ababa, Minister will hold bilateral consultations with his counterparts from African countries on the sidelines of the African Union Summit. Upon arrival to Ethiopia, Maldivian Foreign Minister was welcomed by State Minister at the Ethiopian Foreign Affairs Dr. Aklilu Haile Michael and Minister of Government Communication Affairs Dr. Nejeri Lencho. On the sidelines of the 30th Summit of the African Union, Foreign Minister Asim met with the Foreign Minister of Tunisia, Khimais Jinawi, and discussed ways to strengthen future cooperation in areas of mutual interest and cooperation in multilateral fora, including at the United Nations. Foreign Minister Asim also met the Foreign Minister of areas of mutual interest, such as education and cooperation in multilateral fora, including at the United Nations. Moreover, Minister met the Foreign Minister of Malawi, Emmanuel Fabiano, exchanged views on further strengthening bilateral cooperation, especially in the context of addressing similar development challenges faced by small countries.
Minister of Gender and Family Zanisha Shahid Zaki returns to Maldives after concluding her visit to Laos as the special envoy of President Abdullah Yamin Abdul Qayyum. During her visit, Minister Zanisha paid a courtesy call on the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Laos, Selumze Komesit. Both ministers underscored their intentions to strengthen bilateral ties between the 2 countries and agreed to explore new avenues of cooperation, including on social affairs. Discussions were also held on collaboration on a range of international issues, especially within the United Nations. Minister Zanisha met with cabinet ministers of Laos during her visit and discussed mutual cooperations on concerns. Maldives Airports Company Limited MACL decides to send 8 employees to Singapore for work experiences under its initiative Overseas on the Job Training Program. The Overseas Training Program was initiated by MACL in collaboration with SATS Singapore. According to MACL, the trainings will be conducted in Changi Airport of Singapore, adding that the training will cover important areas of airport operation. At the ceremony held to inaugurate the Overseas on-the-Job Training Program for MACL talents in collaboration with SAT Singapore, held in HIH, Managing Director of MACL, Adil Musa, highlighted the importance of further developing human resources to meet the standards of services with the expansion of the Velana International Airport VIA project. Adil Musa stated that in this regard, the trainings with SATS Singapore will enable their staff to attain the best practices in the field and enhance the services provided in BIA. Speaking at the ceremony, Senior Vice President of SATS Singapore mentioned the developments brought to the aviation sector of the Maldives and noted that VIA has achieved a lot within the past few years. A special committee of MACL selected 8 employees under a specified criterion for a 3-month-long training program of MACL and SATS Singapore. Minister of Health Abdullah Nazim Ibrahim states the importance of further familiarizing the public on the Domestic Violence Act. Addressing the opening ceremony of the National Conference on Research in Domestic Violence, Health Minister Abdullah Nazim Ibrahim said that it is crucial for all the stakeholders to work together in a well-based system, adding that domestic violence can only be eliminated by doing so. Minister Nazim stated that to stop gender violence, a strong foundation must be built within the families and society. The minister noted that one of the important steps towards fighting violence can be taken within families. Continuing on, Minister Nazim cited that it is vital to familiarize the public on the laws and acts out in place regarding violence. The 2-day National Conference on Research in Domestic Violence is held jointly by the United Nations Development Programme UNDP, Ministry of Gender and Family Protection Authority, FPA, in Hotel Gem. According to FPA, the conference will bring together key organizations and practitioners from across the country to share knowledge, experiences and challenges in addressing domestic violence and identify areas for collaboration and promoting comprehensive responses to all forms of domestic violence. FPA revealed that the conference will provide an excellent platform to highlight the latest research, practical experience and innovation in domestic violence prevention, response and advocacy. The main aim of organizing a national conference on domestic violence is to promote action to end violence against women and girls around the world. During the inauguration ceremony, FPA will launch its website and mobile application for domestic violence. Maldives Association of Travel Agents ATA showcases Maldives in the New York Times Travel Show 2018. The New York Times Travel Show 2018, held in New York City from January 26th to 28th, was a gateway to the U.S. travel market and the most coveted consumer demographic. ATA revealed that the main aim of participating in New York Travel Show is to further promote Maldives as a tourist destination. ATA noted the support of the government towards the show, highlighting that the ambassador of the Maldives to the United States of America, Ali Nasir Muhammad, visited and met with officials participating from Maldives. The travel show has grown in many ways over the past 15 years as destinations, cruise liners and tourism organizations from around the world have participated in North America's #1 travel trade and consumer show. Over 170 countries are represented in the show, and over 500 companies are exhibiting in the 2018 show. Founded in 2014 by a highly experienced and ambitious group of travel agents, ATA represents the interests of travel agents and tour operators in the Maldives. Dense fog envelops northern India, reducing visibility drastically and hitting movement of traffic on roads. The temperature dipped to 5 degrees Celsius in Uttar Pradesh state, while the mercury hovered around 6 degrees Celsius in the capital. People in Moradabad city of the state lit bonfires, wore woolen hosiery and sipped hot tea to keep themselves warm. Residents in Gorakhpur braved a biting cold and crazy winds as they stepped out in the morning to head to work. Indian capital New Delhi was also engulfed by dense fog. Reportedly, 18 trains have been cancelled, while 38 trains were facing delays and 5 were rescheduled due to low visibility or operational reasons. Vehicles were seen plying on roads with their headlights switched on. Temperatures in northern parts of the Indian subcontinent skirting the Himalayan foothills dipped drastically during the months of December and January, mostly due to seasonal western disturbances. South Asia's winters are not as cold as other regions such as North America, but the millions of poor here are hit harder because they live in the open and do not have enough warm clothes. Kabul reacts in despair and fear on a day after a suicide bomb in the center of the city killed and wounded more than 250 people in the worst attack seen in the Afghan capital in months. With security officials warning that more attacks were possible after an ambulance packed with explosives blew up in a crowded city street on Saturday, there was a mix of helpless anger at the seemingly endless wave of attacks. At least 95 people were killed and 158 wounded in the blast, which was claimed by the Taliban a week after they claimed a deadly attack on the city's Intercontinental Hotel. It was the worst attack seen in the Afghan capital since a truck bomb near the German embassy killed 150 people in May. After a deadly week in which an office of the aid group Save the Children in the eastern city of Jalalabad was also attacked, President Ashraf Ghani's Western-backed government has faced growing pressure to improve security. China and Japan have long sparred over their painful history, with Beijing frequently accusing Tokyo of not properly atoning for Japan's invasion of China before and during the war. Ties between China and Japan, the world's second and third largest economies, have also been plagued by a long-running territorial dispute over a cluster of East China Sea islets and suspicion in China about efforts by Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe to amend Japan's pacifist constitution. However, the two countries have sought to improve ties, and Abe and Chinese President Xi Jinping met in November on the sidelines of a regional summit in Vietnam. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi told Japanese Foreign Minister Taro Kono that his trip to Beijing, coming so early in the year, showed Japan's strong wish to improve relations, and China approves of this as better ties are in both nations' interests. However, Wang Yi said while there has been positive progress, there are also many disturbances and obstacles, while also noting comments from Abe on wanting to improve relations. Wang said in comments made in front of reporters that China-Japan ties always sail against the current, either forging ahead or drifting backward, and that he hopes that Japanese side will neither relax in its efforts nor fall back, and turn the spoken statements into concrete actions. Kono said that the two countries shared a major responsibility in safeguarding the stability and prosperity of Asia and the world at large. Kono stated that not only do both countries need to manage bilateral relations, but also need to work together to deal with issues facing the entire globe, in particular the issue of North Korea, which is the matter at hand for international society as a whole. Japan has repeatedly pressed China to do more to help rein in North Korea's missile and nuclear programs. China says it is committed to enforcing UN sanctions, but that all parties need to do more to reduce tensions and restart talks. Hamburg holds Leipzig to draw while Borussia Dortmund snatches a point against Freiburg.
Leipzig were held to a 1-1 home draw against strugglers Hamburg in the Bundesliga to slip into fourth position at the table. The home side took an early lead through Bruma's 9th-minute header and nearly doubled their lead through John Kevin Augustin, who shot narrowly wide. Hamburg languishing one place above the bottom, but playing their first game under new coach Bernd Hollerbach, drew level in the 29th minute with a quick and direct counter-attack that allowed Filip Kostic to round the goalkeeper and put the visitors back in the game. Leipzig pushed forward in the second half, but had few good chances to win all the 3 points. Meanwhile, Borussia Dortmund snatched a last gasp 2-2 draw at home to Freiburg after Nils Petersen's outrageous lob almost gave the Black Forest side a famous win. Dortmund, fifth with 31 points, remained winless since the winter break, but it could have been worse. They started well with Shinji Kagawa hooking home in the 9th minute after the ball ricocheted around the Freiburg area, but Peterson turned in Yannick Herrera's cross at the near post to level in the 21st minute. The game took an unexpected win in the 68th minute when Dortmund's Nuri Sahin sent a pass straight to Peterson, who saw Roman Buaki off his line and lobbed the ball over the startled Dortmund goalkeeper from 35 meters. Jeremy Tolhan spared Dortmund a 4th home defeat of the season with a stoppage time equalizer after a poor Freiburg clearance. Dortmund forward Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, linked with a move to Arsenal in the January transfer window, made his first appearance of the year after being dropped for the last 2 games, but he failed to add to his tally of 13 league goals. Moreover, runaway Bundesliga leaders Bayern Munich hit back after falling 2 goals behind in 12 minutes to hammer Hoffenheim 5-2 and stay on course for a 6th successive league title. Hoffenheim threatened to hand Bayern their first home league defeat of the season as they made a flying start at the Allianz Arena. Mark Huth put Hoffenheim ahead from a rebound after Serge Gnabry saw his penalty saved by Sevan Ulrich. Then Gnabry added the second with a low shot from outside the area. But it turned out to be a false alarm for the Bavarians, who were level before the half-hour mark as Robert Lewandowski diverted Joshua Kimmich's shot into the net before Jerome Boateng headed in from a corner. Bayern, who have 50 points from 20 games and a 16-point lead over Schalke, cruised home with second-half goals from Kingsley Coman, Arturo Vidal and Sandro Wagner.
In the studio in New York's Brooklyn Dumbo neighborhood, painter Eric Lopresti is hard at work creating landscapes that are often not seen in popular artwork. He paints nuclear weapons testing sites and their environment to bring more understanding and help deal with fear that nuclear weapons elicit.
In a studio in New York's Brooklyn Dumbo neighborhood, painter Eric Lopresti is hard at work creating landscapes that are often not seen in popular artwork. He paints nuclear weapons testing sites and their environment to bring more understanding and help deal with fear that nuclear weapons elicit.
Well, everyone thinks of a mushroom cloud, right? But actually, most nuclear weapons tests are underground. Even the ones in North Korea are underground. As a culture, we really don't have a good image of what that is. And as a painter, when something so important seems to have no visualization in the cultural imagination, that's where I feel I can step in and bring something to the table, because what I do is visualize things.
Lopresti grew up in eastern Washington state near the Hanford site, which made plutonium. His father worked on post-blow-up cleanups. Lopresti says nuclear weapons were created by people with high ethical standards who truly wanted to help the humankind and therefore are expression of creativity that he wants to explore.
They are terrifying, and yet they are somewhat paradoxical. They've been around for a while, but they seem to have these sides where they will either destroy the world or they'll never be used. So as an artist, I find that very interesting. I think also they're somewhat misunderstood. Our image of nuclear weapons is somewhat misunderstood. And for an artist, you know, all I am about is visualizing things that are hard to understand.
He adds he hopes for the latter. Lopresti will show his works in an exhibit called An Ocean of Light at Burning Water Gallery in New York.
These things are something that we've created as a culture that are incredibly dangerous, but they're also emblems of our highest hopes for world peace. So in a way, as an artist, and I'm not a policymaker, I'm not a politician, I'm not a scientist, but as an artist, I'm inclined to see these things as things that people created, that groups of people who are ethically inclined, who are ambitious, engineers, scientists, who are trying to do their very best, they put together these things, and I think that in some ways that makes them artifacts of creativity just as much as paintings are.
And that's all we have for you right now. Thank you for watching. Have a very pleasant day.